How did I start with investing in foreclosed properties? I was too stressed at work kasi I'm the IT manager for the company I used to work for. Sino ditong nasa IT? Sinong stress? Yun. Sana hindi kayo ma-stress. Kasi ako, iba na yung stress kasi na-diagnose ako with hypertension at a young age. I know yung job yung problem ko kasi hindi pa ako married during that time. Nung married na ako, alam ko na kung ano yung cause. Joke lang. Andiyan yung misis ko. Sorry. So, I was too stressed at work. And then, I had this office mate who introduced me to a book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. Sino nakabasa ng Rich Dad Poor Dad? Yan, ang dami. They say this book has launched a lot of real estate investing careers, and I agree. So, I read Rich Dad Poor Dad in 2005. But it was this book, Think Rich Pinoy, it showed me how to actually do it in the Philippine setting. I also attended a seminar. Just like you guys, pero yun, mas maliit yung seminar ng TRP. Ayun ako, so nakaupo lang ako sa isang tabi. That was Dr. Larry Gamboa speaking. I learned a lot from that seminar and it inspired me to pursue a more deeper understanding of real estate. I also reviewed for the 2007 Real Estate Broker's Licensure exam and I passed, but I attended the reviews mostly for the knowledge. I did not intend to become a broker. My real purpose was to use the knowledge so that I can actually invest in real estate, which I got from Engineer Cruz. Sino dito naka-attend na ng mga trainings ni Engineer Cruz? So, ayun, meron. Okay, so si Engineer Cruz, very no-nonsense. And I maximized the training kasi I asked questions about the foreclosed properties I was going to buy. And I wanted to raise capital for my next deals. Who here tracks their expenses? Very good. Kasi, ito yung one big building block. Paano ako nakapag-start investing in real estate? I track my expenses. Ito, O2 XDA pa to. Sino nakakaalam ng mga XDA pa? Wala. Dinosaur na talaga ako. Anyway, medyo maliit, pero kita dito, lahat ng expenses ko, and there were days na wala akong expenses. I was so proud. Tapos, because of my tracking my expenses, ito kasi nanggaling to kay Brother Bo, because of the book Simplify. I simplified everything. I was able to save a lot. And because of that, I was able to save money for capital for foreclosed properties that I wanted to buy. And I used the money jar method. So for one whole year, from August 2007 to July 2008, ito ang statistics ko. I was able to save from a target of 15% of my monthly income, I was able to save 25.72%. Ang ibig sabihin ng FFA, Financial Freedom Account, 25% of my entire salary for 1 year. Yung LTSS, Long-Term Savings for Spending, yan yung mga cheche-boreche, mga gadgets, yan. 17%, very bad kasi dapat 10% lang. Pero okay lang. For my play, yun yung mga vacation or whatever, it was only supposed to be 10%. Very good ako dyan. I spent less than 1%. Kaya yung wife ko, bored na bored siguro. Hindi kami nagbabakasyon. And next, yung education, seminars, tipid ko rin, 1.43% lang. Yung tithe, 5% ang target, very bad, 1.35% lang. Expenses, I cut it down to 52%. Ano yung goal ko kasi? Ito ang kailangan nyo gawin for you to be able to invest in anything. Hindi lang real estate. Kailangan nyo i-manage yung finances nyo. Financial literacy is this. And because of that, I was able to start. Yung pala managers sa Secrets of the Millionaire Mind ko nakuha. And eto, my first completed deal, 2009. So, tagal. From 2005, 2009 pa ako nagkaroon ng deal. Medyo maraming obstacles. But since we don't have enough time, I will just focus on what you can learn from my first deal. Ito, auction to from RCBC Savings Bank in February 2009. This is my lucky paddle. Ito yung inaangat during the auction. And this is the property that I was able to win during the bidding. So the foreclosed property was for sale at 1.194 million and I won at minimum bid price. There were no other bidders. Actually, I was very worried. Kung walang other bidders, anong pwede kong isipin? Any guesses? Overpriced, pangit. Tama, ganun yung nasa isip ko. Para bang, baka may nakita sila, ako lang yung engot na walang nakitang problema. So, yun ang dilema ko. But still, alam niyo na nagbid ako eh. Ano nangyari? I sold it for 1.9 million rent to own. So from 1.194, sabihin natin 1.2 million, I was able to sell for 1.9 million. Not bad. And after 2 years, my buyer, actually more than 2 years, almost 3 years, my buyer paid in full through a bank loan. So, from rent to own, kinonvert namin. Actually, that's one of my tips. Kasi yung rent to own, sabi nga ng wife ko, it's an animal that we don't understand. Kasi, paano ba ang taxation ng rent to own? If there's anyone here who can answer me with a definite answer, usap tayo. Ang hirap eh. Tanong ka sa si Mrs. ko, CPA lawyer, kung sino-sino natin nanong niya, hindi talaga masagot. Paano ba ang taxation ng rent-to-own scheme? Pati yung tenant buyer ko, maraming concerns. What if may mangyari sa akin? Ako yung nakaharap sa bangko. Pag may nangyari sa akin, knock on wood, hindi ko na mababayaran yung monthly ko sa bank. Tapos siya, since third party siya, walang pakialam yung bangko sa kanya. Ganun yung risk. Ganun yung risk ng rent-to-own. So ang ginawa namin, kinonvert namin to bank financing. Nag-loan takeout siya, 1.9 million, okay ba yun? Para sa akin, syempre okay. Pero para sa buyer, lugi ba siya? Did I take advantage of my buyer? Hindi. In-appraise ng bank, 2.4 million. Meaning, win-win-win. Panalo yung bangko, panalo ako, panalo yung tenant buyer ko. So, yun ang goal. Admittedly, yung mga ganitong deal mas mahirap. Pero kung matyaga ka lang maghanap, meron kayong makikita. So, because of that deal, that led to more deals. Sunod-sunod yun. Actually, in 2009, I bought, target ko 4 properties. I was able to buy 3 out of 4. Ang nakapigil sa akin doon sa 4th deal, ang pangalan, Ondoy. Yeah. Kasi yung bahay namin na Ondoy. So, hindi na ako bumili ng pang-apat. Pero, it was enough for me to quit my job as an IT manager. And I focused full-time on real estate, obviously, and also my blog, foreclosurephilippines.com. Sino dito nakakaalam ng blog kong, wow, thank you. Thank you guys. So, for the benefit of those na hindi alam, I blog about foreclosure prevention, real estate investing tips, and foreclosed property listings and auction schedules. Ang very popular yung listings. Pero yung foreclosure prevention, gusto kong matuto ang lahat kasi ayaw naman natin na maraming na-foreclose na property, di ba? And yet, walang gustong makinig, walang gustong magbasa. But still, tuloy pa rin. So next, how was I able to identify yung property ko as a good deal?